In this video, we will show you how to log clips and produce video using the eMAM Director interface and Adobe Premiere Pro panel. In previous videos, we have shown you how to organize your media into projects. We will show you how to log and import clips into a timeline, creating a rough cut. These rough cuts and subclips can be imported into Adobe Premiere as a project. Let's start with logging clips. First, place the subclip, marker, project, and timeline widgets onto your workspace. Next, search for all clips you would like to use in this project. In an earlier video, we showed you how to organize your media into a category called My Project. Using the search widget, we will click on the category search and select category My Project. Next, we will click on the asset type and video to reveal all videos assigned to My Project. Clicking on the first video in the Browse widget, you can now begin logging that clip. In the Project widget, open the Project menu and add a project. We are going to call this eMAM project My Project. Next, click on the menu button next to the name My Project and select Add Sequence. We will name the sequence My Sequence. Clicking on the sequence in the Project widget, the Timeline widget will now be active. Let's create a subclip. This will make a time code reference with an in and an out point from the original video. We will be adding the subclip to the rough cut timeline My Sequence and then importing the entire eMAM project into Adobe Premiere Pro. Clicking on the Preview widget and then the Play button, you can now preview the video. Hitting the I for in and then O for out, you have now created your first subclip. Next, hit the comma key to add the subclip to the timeline. You now have your first subclip on the timeline. Repeat this process as many times as needed. Now let's add a few markers to our video. These markers will be imported into Adobe Premiere. Click on the Preview window to activate it. Click Play and M to add a marker. In the Marker widget, you can add a marker name and description. Add as many markers as needed. You can also add full clips to your timeline as needed. Just drag and drop full clips from the Browse widget onto the timeline. If you need to rearrange the clips, click and drag a full or subclip to the preferred place on the timeline. Click the Save button, and you now have a rough cut ready to be imported into Adobe Premiere. You can preview the rough cut by adding the Timeline Preview widget. You can also export out the project with references to Final Cut Pro 7 and Avid Media Composer. The eMAM project XML can then be imported into these NLE applications. The next step requires that you have the Adobe Premiere Pro panel installed on your workstation or laptop. Please check with your administrator about how to get the panel installed. Open Adobe Premiere Pro and create a project named My Adobe Project. Next, click on the eMAM panel and select your project, My Project, and click Import. You will be prompted to check out the project, limiting others from opening the same project. Next, you can select Localized to copy the media to your local desktop system. This is only used when working remotely. When you localize media, you can select the original media or a proxy version. Click OK, and then your reference of your original media from the eMAM project will now be imported into your local Adobe Premiere Pro application. All videos and bins from the EMAM project will now be imported into Adobe Premiere Pro. You will notice that the rough cut sequence you created in EMAM was also imported. Through the panel, you can search for additional assets assigned to categories and individual assets. Searching by category, type in the search field the first few letters of the category you're looking for. The narrowed down list will appear. Click on the category you would like to preview and select all individual assets you need. Click Import, and the references to the original media will be imported into the project. To find individual assets, click on the Assets tab and begin searching using the search field, the search filter, and/or sort menu. Click Import, and the assets are now added to your project. You will now see the project files and rough cut sequence from EMAM in the Adobe Premiere Pro interface. Clicking on Markers panel, you will see the markers you added in EMAM. If needed, import additional media from a local source into your project. EMAM will add these files to your EMAM system later. Begin your editing process and remember to save your project. When you are ready to update EMAM with your new Adobe Premiere Pro project, click the Project tab and select Export. You will be prompted to review the files about to be exported into EMAM. Most will already be in the EMAM system, so EMAM will ignore these files. Any files imported from a local source into the Premiere Pro project will be imported into the EMAM system as new assets. Next, you will be asked to import the sequence as a new asset. Select the proxy settings, add project metadata, assign new assets to a category, add tags and metadata. Click Add, and your new Adobe Premiere Pro project will now be added to the EMAM system. EMAM will now check in the new project as an Adobe Premiere Pro project and manage all versions going forward. Moving over to the EMAM Director, you will now see your Premiere Pro project in the project window. Clicking on the project will reveal the project version in the Project Version widget. Users can then check out any version of the project they wish in the Premiere Pro panel next time they open Adobe Premiere Pro. Once the sequence has been imported into the EMAM system, you can click on the asset in the Browse widget and preview the proxy video. For more information on EMAM and other products and services, please visit our website at www.impressmam.com.